How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Welcome to Myth Information 3, our conference here in Milwaukee. You were going to do a speak. You're going to speak at today. Wonderful. First, as an icebreaker question, who is your favorite comic book character?
Wonder Woman.
Oh, awesome. Mine too. Okay. Now for the hard one. Okay, why do you think human beings have such a propensity to hate?
I think that it's because it's easier than loving. Not only that, but hate tends to bring people together. Mm-hmm. And I think that we notice that from a very young age. We look at children on the playground, right? They typically target one kid. They've got one kid that they all tend to make fun of, and that pulls them together as a team, and it makes them feel good. It makes them feel like they belong. So we kind of learn from a very early age that hating doesn't feel bad. It feels good, and it actually can make us feel inclusive, like we belong to something if we hate, and it's easy.
Yeah. Yes, I would agree with you 100%. Why is it that some religious people hate atheists, yet parts of their religion teach the opposite?
Again, I'm going to say it's because it's an easy target.
Inclusiveness.
It's the inclusiveness. We belong to this club. You don't belong to this club. We don't like you. But not only that, we are a constant reminder, constantly in their face, constantly telling them what you believe isn't true. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to hear it. And they don't like it, and it doesn't make them feel good. So rather than listen to what we have to say and come back with any sort of great argument to contradict what we say, they just hate us. You know, it's much easier to say, well, you're going to hell, than, come up with why they believe in a God when they have no evidence for it.
Yep. Okay, have you ever experienced hate within the atheist community?
A lot.
Really? Can you give us a little...
So we actually...
Maybe without naming names? Or
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely without naming names. We get so many messages from people who think all we do is sit around on our butts all day and post things on Facebook. We're a nonprofit organization. So we actually do a heck of a lot more than that, and that's also not our goal. Our goal wasn't to, hey, let's make everybody mad. Let's post some things that are gonna rile people up today. No. Our goal is to build a community for people who think that they want to grow some more, who maybe don't believe in God, maybe do believe in God, but have questions. We're building a community. So when people write to us and they say, even atheists do this, apologetics all the time, why do you have to post such mean things? Why do you have to do a contest about drawing Muhammad? Why do you have to do that? You're just making people mad, and that makes you no better. You're no better. You're disgusting. I'm unfollowing your page, which I don't care. So because clearly they didn't get it. No. Clearly they didn't get what we were about. So please do unfollow my page.
Exactly.
And so not only do we get stuff from apologetics who think that we're just meanies, we also get stuff from people who think we're not doing enough. You guys don't. Why aren't you attacking the fact that God is on our currency in the United States? Why aren't you?
Have you told them that there are people doing that?
Well, and that's the thing is as an organization, no matter how big we are, we can't do everything.
Exactly.
So to these people, I always say, you sound like you know exactly what needs to be done. Why don't you join my team and start working on that project?
Exactly.
You can lead that project. Yep. Since you know what needs to be done. Join us and lead that project. I can't do everything. Mm-hmm. My volunteers can't do everything. Us as a team, we try so hard. We do so much. A lot of what we do that we don't really talk about often, I'm actually going to be talking about in my speech today. So it's kind of a nice reward to kind of get to share what all we actually do behind the scenes. So we get a lot of hate from the atheist community. But those people don't fully understand.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Great. Thank you, Allie. This is Allie Jackson from Atheist Republic. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's no secret that my personal Lord and Savior is author Philip K. Dick. He famously said, "Reality is that which, when you stop believing in it, doesn't go away. Many of us stop believing in God, the Bible, or religion. And guess what? They're still here in our lives. What do? Except dream of electric sheep. Well, I say we engage, we understand, and we deconstruct. We continue deprogramming ourselves until we are no longer replicants and become vibrant living humans, blade runners of intellect and inventiveness. I can't think of a better blade runner of intellect and inventiveness than our next speaker, Allie Jackson. Allie is the CEO of Atheist Republic, a nonprofit organization that provides news, blogs, book, publications, and more. Atheist Republic has over 1 million followers and fans worldwide. Allie focuses her personal time on providing emotional support to atheists in religious countries and helping them find resources for asylum. Through her work, blogs, and YouTube show, Devils in God's Country, she fights a negative misconception about atheism in general. Today, Allie will be speaking about how to approach hateful thoughts and acts towards atheism/atheists and provide comfort. Please welcome Allie Jackson.
Hi, I'm Allie. I am so happy to be here today and discuss something that is just absolutely important to me personally. The whole sole reason why I got into activism in the first place was because I wanted to help people. Atheist Republic, in and of itself, is an organization that wanted to build a community for atheists around the world. Our founder, Armin Navabi, started off in Iran, became an ex-Muslim and believed nobody else in this world could possibly not believe in Allah like he did. And he felt alone and he felt scared. And so he started a little group and decided to see who else is out there that kind of believed the same things he did, or in this case, didn't believe what he didn't believe. And he found a few people. And the comfort that he found in those people really lifted up his spirits. And something that I'm going to be talking about here today, a lot about, is Islam and Muslims and ex-Muslims. And I chose to talk about one religion in particular, not because I dislike Islam more than any other religion, not because it's easy, but because a lot of Americans specifically don't understand the struggles of ex-Muslims in Islamic countries. And it's something that I work with every day, something I pour my heart, my soul into. And it's something that I don't get to talk about enough. If anyone here does follow our page, Atheist Republic, you see a lot of the different stuff that we put out. And our goal there is to make people think. You know, we want to make people question, not just their religion, just their ideas. I did a little test with some friends of mine, and I asked them to pick anything, one thing that you've been told your entire life is true. Whenever I was growing up, we were told Christopher Columbus founded America, right? And it's something I never questioned. I never questioned until I got into college and was told, no, he didn't. I mean, let's be honest. Let's look at who was here. People already here was already founded. And things like that kind of start to make you think. But so much of us, even here, those of you who are agnostic, those of you who are atheists, those of you who are not, you've been fed stories your entire life, and you've probably never questioned them. And so something that's very challenging, and it's not easy for anyone, is to question these things. Ask yourself, I've been told this my entire life. And what I asked people to do was believe the complete opposite for 1 week. For 1 week, tell yourself, if you're a Christian, I'm not a Christian. I do not believe in God. For 1 week, research everything you can on that topic and see what happens. If by the end of that week you're still a Christian or you're a stronger Christian than ever, I'm happy. Because at least you are brave enough to question. And so many people are not. So many people don't. So many people want to live in their happy little bubble where I've been told this feels good to me, so I'm going to continue to believe this. And that is a very dangerous situation to be in. Activism, in and of itself, is not comfortable. If it is comfortable, if it is easy, if it makes you feel good every day, you are doing it wrong. There is no two ways about that. People will love you or people will hate you. And we've all been taught growing up in our entire lives that love and hate are the opposite of each other, right? We've seen our fairy tales where the princess is the good one, the queen is the bad one. We love the princess, we hate the queen. They're the opposite. And that is so far from the truth. And being an activist has really helped me to understand how much love and hate are identical in every single way. Maybe not every single way, but in many, many, many ways. Love and hate are exactly alike. Love and hate can drive you to do amazing things. Love and hate can both drive you to do terrible things. And we look at people who love religion, look at people who spent their whole lives loving their God, loving their doctrine. And we see these people do great things with it. We do. We see them feed the homeless. We see them build shelters. We see them try to get people jobs who can't get jobs otherwise. We see them use their religion to do great things. But unfortunately, on that same note, we see people use religion to do absolutely terrible, disgusting, and vile things. Many of those things Americans get to kind of tuck away. Americans get to kind of say, well, it's not happening in my country. It's not happening here. What difference does that make to me? And while I may be American, I live in America and I love it very much, my heart lives in the Middle East with my ex-atheist friends who have to suffer every day, who every day they get up, they either have to live a lie or they can be killed. And this is just the honest truth of what is going on in our world. For an activist, if somebody doesn't love you or hate you, love or hate your message, they're indifferent to you. And there is nothing scarier, there is nothing worse, there's nothing more traumatic than someone not listening to what you have to say when it's very important, when lives are at stake. There's a woman right now in Pakistan fighting for her life for a blasphemy law. Can you believe that there are still places, even in America, that prosecute people on blasphemy? And if anyone here thinks that that's not still happening here in America, it happened in Pennsylvania. Some poor kid is on 2 months probation for humping Jesus' face on a statue. That's not going to happen to a garden gnome, right? If somebody did that to a garden gnome, nothing would ever happen. But it happened to Jesus. So this kid is prosecuted because it made people feel bad. Maybe his action wasn't great. Maybe it wasn't commendable. Maybe, people say he shouldn't have done it. But he certainly doesn't deserve to be on probation, right? So this woman is in prison right now. She's been torn from her kids. She's in prison for speaking out against Islam. She's going to be put to death. Her name is Azia. And Michael Sherlock asked Atheist Republic, can you please get this message out? He's an activist for blasphemy laws and blasphemy laws. And we did. We put that out, asking people to sign a petition for change.org. And what we wanted them to do was just go, sign a petition, so we can get this to the UN. Someone has to put some pressure on this country. You cannot kill people for speaking out against a religion. This is not okay. That hatred, that creates hatred, that breeds hatred. That teaches children, if someone doesn't like my religion, they deserve to die. And that's something that absolutely needs to be fought. People who have that voice absolutely need to scream it, because Azia can't. She can't from prison. So it's up to us. We have to. We have to say, hey guys, please, Do the absolute bare minimum you can do and sign a petition on change.org. Now, everyone has the right to do whatever they want to do. You have the right to help a victim when you see them being mugged. You have the right to not help that victim. Maybe call the police. Maybe don't step in. But, so we put that out, asking people to do just the bare minimum. Sign this petition. Let's put some pressure on the UN. And somebody said something that absolutely rocked me in a really, really bad way, and I'm not used to having that happen. He said, I'm not going to sign this petition because they want too much information from me. And while that was probably an absolute innocent comment, I understand a lot of us here, I certainly don't want to be putting my address up for people to find me. So I can understand how that is. But can you imagine telling a rape victim, sorry, I didn't stop in to help you because I didn't want to ruin my suit? Or, hey, sorry, I could have called the cops. I didn't want to be late for my date. Sorry, mother in Pakistan who was about to die. I didn't want to give you my information to some website. It hurts. Indifference is what you should fear. Not love, not hate. It's indifference. If you've never heard of Atheist Republic, you might have heard of this story. This brave young woman literally beyond risked her life out of pure frustration, pure anger. She is so tired of living a lie. She is so tired of being a slave behind a burqa. She is so tired of not feeling the wind in her hair. She's an atheist, but she's a slave. Her family makes her come to Mecca. And this is the Kaaba. And if you're not familiar with Islam, this is the most holy place in the entire world. This is Allah's home. This is it right here. And this brave young girl decided she was going to take a little bit of her independence in this place where she didn't want to be, in an outfit she didn't want to wear, being told to do things she didn't want to do. And she writes to us. She reaches out to us. Because sometimes for some people, their internet is all they have. This is the only way they get to see people do believe like me. I'm not a freak. I'm not different. I don't deserve to die. I'm a good person. There are others out there that are like me. And she writes on a piece of paper and takes a picture in the middle of Mecca in front of the Kaaba, Atheist Republic. And this was so stirring for us, knowing that if anyone were to see this, if anyone were to call her out at that moment, she'd be done. That'd be it. Are you an atheist? Most of the time, women, their voices, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if she would say yes or no. They had paper. They had an idea. And whatever they think at that moment, that's what goes, not what she says. But not only was this dangerous for her to do, but this is something she felt like she had to do. And it's something so much of us don't understand when we hear that Bangladesh bloggers are out there being murdered. We hear that they get hacked to death. We say, why didn't they just shut up? Why didn't they just not say something? And I have to ask you, we live in this country where we value free speech. Imagine if you weren't allowed to say what you felt, what you thought. Imagine everyone going around saying, all people with curly hair are disgusting, they're bad, they're terrible, and they should be put to death. It's crazy, right? And I'd be running around straightening my hair all the time, trying to fit in with everybody else. No, I don't have curly hair. I don't want to be put to death. After a while, you go home at night. You lay in your bed and you say, I'm a good person. I don't deserve this. People should know what I think, and they should know how I feel, and they should know why I think it and feel it. I have to get this out. And if I don't get it out, when will we ever get this out? Because if they shut up, what happens to the next generation? And if they shut up, what happens to the next generation? Christianity was not so different. Christianity was disgusting. We were burning women at the stake if our crops didn't grow right. They were a witch. We hunted people down. Islam is younger than Christianity. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. We're seeing women stoned to death for wearing red lipstick. We're seeing little girls sold and married at 8, 9 years old. The things that are happening over there in the name of religion are hateful. They are absolutely hateful. And it's their love for Islam that drives it. I don't think they're bad people intentionally. I don't think these are people who woke up one morning and said, I really want to go out and kill someone today because they don't believe what I believe. This has been going on forever. How do we stop it? That's what we need to focus on. This is one of our biggest messages we put out there that caused quite a bit of a stir, that we actually weren't expecting. This is, again, the Kaaba, one of the most holy places in Islam. And we put this out after people in America were able to legally get married. Gay couples were legally allowed to get married. And we decided we were going to tell people love wins everywhere. And our message was, we want it to win everywhere, right? We want it to. Christianity has turned to a place where they've started accepting homosexuality. They started accepting the LGBT community. And it's because so many activists wouldn't shut up. It's because a lot of us gained tolerance. And that's something that we want to see, a movement we want to see more of in Islamic countries, where people not only who are atheists get put to death, but the LGBT community also gets imprisoned, gets beaten, gets tortured. And what's even fun, like completely just mind-boggling to me, is some of them actually get raped for this stuff. In Atheist Republic, I started a support group. I wanted to help atheists. That was my main goal. I didn't know how. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how we were going to accomplish it, but I wanted to do it. So I was like, we're going to do this. Let's just put it out there that we're going to give people a helping hand, a shoulder to cry on, if you will, to let them know, hey, I heard you. You had a safe place to come and let me know something bad is happening. And you have someone who will sit up with you on Skype and cry with you. You have that. At least you have that. What we discovered was something far more traumatic. And that was that people are being threatened at a higher rate than I ever had imagined here in America. I had no idea that these atrocities were happening until we started that support group and people started pouring in. I'm talking families have kicked kids out of their home. Families have turned other family members into the police for not believing in Islam. And these people get thrown in jail. These people get killed. And it's like it's nothing. And when we put this out, we got, I would say, tens of thousands of threats to our page. Something that I had to cut out of this because I didn't want to put it in here for shock value was we got a tweet from a guy who showed us a man tied to a cross and his head had been cut off and placed between his feet. This wasn't a cartoon. This is what had happened to somebody. This is what had happened to an atheist. And he said, "You're next." This is the kind of stuff that just came pouring in. And to the few moderates who would actually talk to us, who would actually hear something we had to say in defense of what we were trying to do here, normalize the LGBT community in a place where it's not normalized yet. That's all we wanted to do. It was a loving, peaceful message. We didn't want people to go crazy and threaten to kill us. But when we told them that was our message, they said, Islam hates homosexuality. And any good Muslim would never listen to your message. So one way that we combated that hate was we proved to people, no, Not all Muslims are homophobes, actually. We also, in account of those tens of thousands of messages that came pouring in, we received so many messages from Muslims who said, thank you. I hate you guys, don't get me wrong, but thank you for this message, because I live in a place where I can't admit that I'm gay. I can't be with my lover. I have to get married. I'm being forced to get married. And it's hard. It's hard when even those people, you just want to help them. We just want to help them. People think that if you're an atheist, you're hateful. You're a disgusting person. You're cold-hearted. Maybe you do have to become a little cold-hearted. Maybe you do. But certainly you don't have to be hateful. And even Muslims that come to us and have problems with certain things, certain ideas, my goal is never to make them lose their faith. I lost my faith. I was a very strong Christian. I remember how terrible that was for me, and not everyone experienced that. If you're sitting here and you were never outrageously religious, you might not understand what it was, but I loved God. I loved him. And when it clicked in my head when I was reading the Bible, that I did all the time, this is kind of BS. There's no way, right? There's absolutely no way Samson found 300 foxes to hide their tails together. And if you can't believe one part of the Bible, if there is one part of the Bible, one part of the Quran you do not believe in, just one, you have to discredit all of it. You're not allowed to pick and choose. You don't get to pick and choose what feels good to you, so this is right. That is a number one warning sign in anything, that you are going down the wrong path. If something feels good so you believe it, you're probably wrong. So my goal is never to make people lose their faith. When I lost God, it was like I lost a family member. Matter of fact, I remember when I did finally say, I can't believe in him anymore. I actually prayed. I prayed to God and I said, can you please give me my faith back? Can you please make me your child again? I wanted to be there. I wanted that warm, gushy feeling I got whenever I prayed to him for forgiveness, because I didn't want to look my brother in his face and get forgiveness from him. It always felt so good at the end of the day, right? You got to go home at night, pray before you go to sleep. God, forgive me of all my wrongdoings. Never once have to look at your victim or the person that you've wronged, because it's okay now. God forgave you. It felt good. All those things felt good. And even though Christians don't look at it that way, and I know Muslims don't look at it that way, but it is. It's just a way for us to feel good about doing bad things. We can repent. We can go back to it. It's no big deal. Whatever we want. So we get a lot of hate in the form of idiocracy. This is one of my favorite memes, and every time I see it, I can't help but give a sarcastic response. If an atheist sees a man drowning, he's going to say, good. He's not fit for this world. Look at him out there, stupid, he's drowning. I'm going to finish eating my lunch. And a Christian would say, this man was built in the image of God. I've got to save this man. I've got to help him. So a Christian would help. This is the kind of, this is the reason why atheism needs to be normalized. People need to see that, hey, Joe, he's not only an awesome bad boy down at the supermarket, but he doesn't believe in God. He's still a good person. You know, he still separates the frozen from the cereal boxes. Still a good guy. So one of the ways that we combat this stuff is we share it. We share it, and we share the absurdity that goes along with it. So we love to share these kind of things. Freedom from Atheism Foundation, I am positive is a PO. I don't believe that there's actually a way that people believe what the Freedom from Atheist Foundation actually do believe. I think that it almost has to be a joke. But it's also, it helps to point out the absurdity. It helps. When people are so absurd about a certain topic, it's so much easier for us to go to the people who are on the fence and be like, see, this is an absurd thought. And it's not about making people lose their faith. It's about opening people to think. to ask those questions and be brave about these ideas they've never questioned before. We get so much of this, it was hard to pick. I just literally had to close my eyes, and I was like, I'm going to go with this one. We get messages all the time that are just so outrageously hateful. And one of the things that I love to do is overly tell them how much I agree with them, right? They come to me and they call me names and they say, you're disgusting, you're terrible, you're an idiot, you're a dog, you deserve to die like a dog, you're this, you're that, blah, 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 blah. I've heard it all before. No one is original with any of this. So if you've seen one, you've seen them all. And what I like to do is I like to go after them and let them think, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right about everything you're saying. And that sarcasm kind of startles people. Whenever you're confronted with this kind of hatred, sarcasm is an awesome tool to, again, make people think. Why is she agreeing with me? Why I see that she wrote that, and she really should have meant it, but why didn't she really mean it? Whenever they understand that sarcasm in there is definitely not what they were going for. We get a lot of this too. I will never for the life of me understand how anyone can decide telling an atheist you're going to hell is a bad thing. Not only are we like the awesomest group of people that I've ever met, so hell would just be one awesome, huge group of the best people. Yeah, it'll be a party. But we most of us don't believe in it. And I do say most of us because I have actually met an atheist that does believe in the afterlife. So the only criteria of being an atheist is not believing in God, right? But we also get a lot of people who believe in ghosts, a lot of people who believe in everything else, and that doesn't make them less of an atheist, doesn't make them not an atheist, not a true atheist, that no true Scotsman fallacy we see all the time, but they're still atheists. So we like to mess with these people as an outlet. Whenever you get this stuff, every day you're told you're going to hell, and not by one person, not by 5 people, not by 10 people. It's just continuous, and they think that message is so original, and they think, I really stuck it to them. And it's like, I'll gladly go. When are you going to take me? I'll go get a pedicure. This is good stuff. And again, opening up that dialogue with people is actually a fantastic thing. Sometimes you might be sarcastic. Sometimes you might be funny. Sometimes, I like to be friendly. People come after us and they're like, you guys are stupid. What you say is stupid, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, hey, you know what? That was a really good thought. No one's ever told us we're stupid before. Wow, you have all the answers. Can you tell me how I can be better? And kind of starting off like that, I've actually met a few friends that have come after us, and they've been like, you guys are terrible, you're stupid. And I asked them, what can we do to be unstupid? Since that's their favorite word. How can we unstupefy ourselves? And the answers are actually quite surprising. A lot of the times, they don't know. Yeah? So we're stupid. They have no idea how to not be stupid. This one. So again, if you're not familiar with Islam, you're not familiar with the Kaaba, most people don't know what's actually in the Kaaba. You don't enter it. But there are, I think, like if you YouTube, there are people who have like taken video of the inside of it, so that you do know what it looks like. But for the most part, people are dying to know what's in the box. And we put up stuff like this. We put up stuff like this often. And it's not to be mean. It's not to be rude. It's not because we're being hateful. But again, if our organization and our goal is to make people think and build a community, what better than to put this out there and let people know we're a community of people who also might want to know that, right? And it's funny It's funny to us. It's funny to us because having a special holy building is absurd. It's absolutely absurd. Any holy building, any holy water, any holy whatever. And Muslims don't find it absurd. They find it quite insulting, apparently, when you use the Kaaba. And if nobody tells them that it's just a building, right? It doesn't hold anything special. If you truly believe in Allah and truly believe Allah is in your heart, what's with the box? Why do you need to go there? It's absurd. And it makes them think, right? It gets everyone thinking. Everyone who sees this will end up thinking. This is where I start talking about the things Atheist Republic does that we don't really get to talk about a lot. So I mentioned the support group to you guys earlier. And with all of those heart-wrenching stories and all of those amazing people I've met through the support group, the one thing that I couldn't even sleep at night knowing was that being a shoulder to cry on was not enough, right? So these people are coming to you, and they're like, wow, I'm about to lose my life. I'm about to die. My neighbors found out about me. We've had teammates, guys, who when they've started working with us, their neighbor beat them up so bad he had to run away. He thought he was going to die. So what I've been doing is working with atheists, trying to get them asylum into appropriate countries. Allie, the guy who had this idea, and they drew it up and dedicated it to us for all the hard work we did for him. He's just a phenomenal guy. Lives in Iran. He's an atheist activist. And extremist Muslims decided that he was going to die for it. And they put out a video listing his name, saying, we're going to kill this guy. When we find him, I want you to know, Ali, when we find you, we're going to kill you. So Ali had to run. And he ran to Sweden. And while he was in Sweden, they denied his asylum. So he reached out to me and he says, I've got one shot. What can I do? And I was like, we're going to do everything. We're going to do everything we can. We found a lawyer. And what's hard for these atheist ex-Muslims is most of them speak primarily Arabic. They don't speak English. So when they're in Sweden and they need a lawyer, and they actually find a lawyer that speaks Arabic, he won't help them because they're atheist. So what do you do? What do you do? He had to go to Norway to finally find someone who spoke his language that he could really express what's going on to and who would help him even though he was an atheist. And now, to find a good asylum lawyer, someone who's really going to work for you, they need to pass more than just the legal bar. They actually need to take courses and pass a specific test on asylum law. So just finding any lawyer is never enough. And then this is a very sad story that I've learned, was this lawyer didn't do it. And I actually wrote to everyone I could. And at the end of my letter, I said, I'm angry and sick and terribly distraught. Sweden has denied asylum before to an atheist in the exact same situation, and that atheist was later hacked to death for his beliefs. His name was Anana Bijoy Das. He was an atheist blogger living in Bangladesh. His situation is the exact same as Ali's. Ali is an atheist activist just like Das. Ali has a group of Islamist extremists actively trying to kill him just like Das. Ali was denied asylum on his first attempt just like Das. Das was killed 2 weeks after his rejection from Sweden. All I'm begging for is for you to not make the same mistake twice. Please don't let Ali have the same fate. And they did. And it happened this month. They denied him. And even though we showed him proof, people want him dead. And even though we showed them proof, this man has no home to go home to. He's got no family. They've rejected him. They've told him, if we find you, we will turn you in. We proved everything we needed to prove. And they did. They denied him. And so something that I wasn't prepared to talk about today was some of the challenges of comforting your own hatred. Doing this kind of work can leave you very angry. It's nothing that I talk about often to anyone, really. Talking to you guys today is one of the first times that I've really been able to get through that letter, and I'm still crying. This happened this month. And I don't feel successful. So I don't want to say we help people when I'm not successful in helping people. And this is why we need help. This is why we need more people to be activists. And not everyone can give up their life to do it. Not everyone wants to give up Sundays at the park with your kids or Saturday night at the movies with your friends. No one's expecting you to. But if you want to help, if you want to really help atheist activists, and even be one yourself, you can start talking out about this stuff. When you read a news story and you see that this stuff is happening, or you see a post where it's happening, share it and be like, this is gross. Because then you're bringing awareness. You are making people think. Your friends who only know about Christianity here in America, or the only link to Islam you've ever heard is Islamophobia. Anyone who doesn't like it, they're Islamophobic. It can be outrageously hard to not let it harden you when you work with it face to face. When you think every time you hear from somebody, it's going to be their last. Doing the support group, we even had a girl come to us and say, I live in a Christian home, and I came out as an atheist, and someone in my family raped me, and I need you to help me. Help me. When someone does that, it's not enough to just be a shoulder to cry on. What do you do? Where do you go? And you write him back, where are you? And I'm thinking to myself, I have a spare $50. I can get this girl a bus ticket. Maybe I can get her a hotel. Get her out of that situation. And then you never hear from him again. And you wonder, to yourself, a lot of things. Sometimes when things are really dire and you don't get to hear back from someone, you wonder if they're dead. Sometimes you wonder if they said it to you and immediately regretted it because now they are labeled as a rape victim the rest of their life. And they don't want that. And they don't want to be that. And all of a sudden they regret asking you for help. These kinds of things are happening. They're happening everywhere. I don't want anyone here to sit here and think that because we're in America, because we value free speech, that we're better. Because we're not. In our shadows, there's a lot going on. And it's a lot of stuff that is fueled by religion. It's a lot of stuff that's also fueled by hatred of people who don't believe the same thing we do. So, what can you guys do to provide support, comfort to people who need it? And that is, you can follow, if you don't have the time to do anything, if you don't have the time to speak out, you don't have the time to, go after certain topics, you can follow us. When we ask you for help, you can provide it. If we ask you to sign a petition, maybe you can do that. I wanted to leave enough time for people to ask any questions at the end of this, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Does anyone have any questions to ask? Yes?
I would just like to thank you for your wonderful presentation, first of all. For several years, I personally tried to rescue a young Iranian man who became an atheist, and he had to flee to Afghanistan. He had several attempts on his life. I tried everything possible to bring him to the United States, and even calling the ambassador, the American ambassador in Kabul. And the office was staffed by Afghan Muslims. And there was no way I could possibly get any help from the American ambassador. And he fled back to Iran, to a completely different city. And he blended in, and he's still alive, and nobody knows he's an atheist, but he wants so much to be able to come to America, and I have been absolutely helpless. I don't know what else can be done.
So what he asked is, there's a friend of his, someone he's been helping for a long time, tried to get to America. What can be done about that? So I wrote a blog kind of detailing everything that is required for asylum. And what's very important for everyone to keep in mind is asylum is for people whose lives are at risk, whose lives are currently right now in danger. And I hear of a lot of people who are like, I'm bored here. I don't like that I will never get an atheist girlfriend here. Can I get out of my country? Believe it or not, these are actual requests that we hear from. And so it's very important, because those people who go and try to file for asylum, those are people who are slowing down the system and not helping the people whose lives are currently right now at risk. So if you know of somebody whose life is not currently right now at risk, and you want to get them to America, one of the best things you can do is do one of two things: a work visa. And a lot of people are probably like, well, how is somebody from Iran going to be able to come here and work if they don't have a college degree, or if they don't have a profession? McDonald's is my number one. They will hire people from outside of the country on work visas. So lining them up a job here and letting them get out is the number one way if it's unnecessary for them to file for asylum. The other thing is student visas. So if they're able to go to scholarships, gain as many scholarships as you can, and guys, there are hundreds of thousands of crazy scholarships out there. There are scholarships for curly hair. You can find scholarships and line them all up, get a student visa, and come over here that way. So those would be his best options. And what I unfortunately have to tell a lot of people is fake it till you make it. Lie. If you are an atheist in an Islamic country, and you know saying you're an atheist is going to get your life taken from you, lie. It's not an honorable thing to do for a lot of people. They want to say, oh, lying's terrible, lying's terrible. Not if it's going to save your life, or not if it's going to save the life of someone else. So pretend. Get down on your knees, pray 5 times a day, go through the motions, and cling to your online community that's here for you, that understands you, that understands how crazy that is, that you have to do that. So definitely find a good support group. Get your work visa or get your student visa. Does anyone have any more questions?
Can you tell us a success story of like somebody that you helped in the Islamic world that felt like there was a real impact
Yes, absolutely. So I showed you guys the picture of the girl holding the Atheist Republic sign in Mecca at the Kaaba. We did a fundraiser to gain money to help her get out of Saudi Arabia and into Germany. And it actually worked out. Now, mind you, she documented everything. And getting out of that country could have cost her her life at any given moment. And everyone knew it. She knew it. The people she had to pay to take her by boat to another country so that she could get out, they could have easily taken her money and had the police come. Say, this girl is an atheist, and we caught her. Now he's got money, and he doesn't have to make a trip. Nothing is guaranteed for these people who are on the run. Nothing. Nothing was guaranteed for her. She had the money, which meant she had a way. But could she trust that way? She didn't know, and she didn't care. Because she knew staying in Saudi Arabia, staying under her burqa, staying without feeling the wind in her hair, was killing her all the same. So she made it. One of her biggest dreams, she was asked, what is something you've always dreamed of? She said, dancing in the streets to music. I've always wanted to dance in the streets to music. So when the BBC did a documentary on this and on her getting out, and with the help that we provided, they did record her in a little black dress, dancing in the streets to some street performers playing music. And it was one of the most joyous things I've ever seen in my life. So that's probably my favorite success story of Atheist Republic right there. It is. So you'll find that there are actually a few of them detailing Atheist Republic, and I don't know off the top of my head where to say that it is available. It's mostly through Middle Eastern channels in Europe, so I can definitely get that available, and I'll probably end up sharing it again on Atheist Republic soon. So I can definitely do that. Another thing I wanted to mention before I left, this has been a very hard month on us. I mentioned us losing an appeal for an asylum case, but not only that, a couple of days ago, one of our teammates took his own life. And I have been devastated, we all have. He was a journalist, he wrote for us. If you read any of our news stories, you may have read a few of his. His name was Oaz. And he lived in Pakistan. And all he ever wanted to do was get out of Pakistan. And while he left no note, and he told nobody why or what, through the support group, he had said a lot of things. And you just kind of get a feeling that he got tired of it. As people do in these situations. Suicide feels like the only way out for these people because sometimes it is. You know, when I mentioned earlier, fake it till you make it, some people know they're never going to make it. Some people know there's never going to be an out. Some people know they're going to have to marry someone. They're going to have kids. They're going to have to teach their kids the same hateful stuff that's been thrown upon them. And they don't want to do it. And it's not like in some of these countries you can say, no thanks, I won't get married. Then you're gay, like we talked about earlier. Remember what they do to homosexuals there. It's not any better. So know that there are so many people out there that need just a little comfort. They need just a little bit of care, a little bit of help. Something that we also don't do often is ask for donations. We don't like to ask for money. But since I've become CEO, I want to take Atheist Republic to an activist level. I want to get everybody out there saying something. If you want to join my team, Something else, too, is in the community. We get a lot of people who say, you need to be focused on taking God off our currency. You guys just sit around making memes, pissing people off. You don't do anything. Why don't you start doing something? And these people don't actually get a full grasp of what we actually do. Not only that, but I say, you sound like you've got the plan. Why don't you join our team and do it? If that means something to you, do it. And anyone here, anyone watching, anyone out here, if there's something you feel passionate about, if there's something you want to do, if there's an issue that you feel has not been broached by any atheist group, and you want a platform of a lot of people to kind of bounce that off of, get with me, please. Email me, Allie@atheistrepublic.com. Tell me what you want to do. We will do it. We will make it happen. We don't ask for a lot of donations, but we need it. It's there. If any of you guys feel like that's something you want to do, please go to our website, www.atheistrepublic.com, and help us help people. We would much rather you and your voice, you be there, you doing what you want to do. But if you can't, and you can donate, that would be awesome too. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.
Whew. Yeah, that was sobering. I think maybe Sartre was right that hell is other people, especially on social media. But right now we'll take a 20-minute break, and we'll come back for our last speaker, Dan Barker. Please don't forget, we got merchandise, books from a lot of authors, $20, all the beer you can drink. And I'd also like to thank our one of our sponsors, Phil Ferguson from Polaris Financial. He couldn't make it tonight, and our thoughts are with him and with his family. So again, a 20-minute break, and we'll come back to Dan Barker, and then we'll take another break and get to the Buzz Belief event. Thank you.
Why not? Because I think everybody knows that it's a cartoon in essence.
So, what is it about these comic book characters or superheroes that puts them in that category for you?
Abilities that are way beyond what normal, average human can, realistically do. But in comic books, they just take that ability and they just multiply it so many times. I think the vast majority of people already know that the characters aren't real, just from the history. They've been around for so long that I think people are aware that characters just are pretend.
But what if everybody told you your whole life that they were real? Could you still tell the difference?
A reading from the book of Nolans. He was the hero Gotham deserved, but not the one it needed right then. And so he was hunted, because he could take it. He is not our hero. He's a silent guardian, a watchful protector, a dark knight. The word of Gordon. Na 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 na. Batman, Batman, Batman.